Something tells me that you are an intermediate student of English or even advanced, and you have come to a point in which you don't know what to do anymore because your English level stays the same no matter what you do, no matter how much you struggle, how much you study, and you don't seem to have much progress. Am I right? Although you can understand everything I'm saying here, you still feel a little bit insecure because when you're forming questions in English, you always have that same question pop in your mind. Am I doing it right? Is this the correct way of forming a question? And if this is exactly the way you feel, you have come to the right place. Welcome to my channel, and I am Paula. I'm going to be your teacher today, and we are exploring a very simple technique to help you form any question in English. I'm going to show you the idea behind question formation in English, and from now on, you won't make any more questions. I mean, you will ask all the questions you possibly can, but you will not be insecure about them. Let's go. All right, so here we go. How can I ask any question in English? So first things first, you have to understand that in English, to form a question, it's necessary to have what we call auxiliary verb. And what is an auxiliary verb? It depends on the question you are forming. There are auxiliary verbs for the present, for the past, for the future. There are modal verbs, but wait. That's too much information. Let's break it down in smaller parts, starting with the verb to be in the simple present, okay? So have a look at this. I can say to you that the verb to be is conjugated in 3 different forms in the simple present: am, is, and are. And we can use the 3 possibilities to form a question. Check this out. I can say to you, are you a good student? Are you a good student? This question is in the present, and you can see that the verb to be starts the question. So there at the beginning, you will find the verb to be. So you say, are you a good student? There are 2 possibilities of answer because this is a yes or no question. So you can say, yes, I am, or you can say, no, I'm not. Attention to this. When you use the verb to be in the question, it's necessary to use the verb to be when you give a short answer, when you answer the person who is talking to you. So imagine someone says to you this very question, are you a good student? You can only say, yes, I am, or no, I'm not. What I'm calling your attention to here is the following. The verb starts the question. Okay, let's move to another possibility. Let's talk about is. I am asking you about a friend of yours. I can say, is your best friend an athlete? Is your best friend an athlete? Attention. Once again, I started the question using the verb to be. And then for you to answer the question, you need to use the verb to be again. So you can say to me, yes, he is, or no, he isn't. He isn't. Once again, attention to how the verb is repeated. Attention to how it's necessary to repeat the verb we used in the question when we give an answer. Is your best friend an athlete? Yes, he is. No, he isn't. Notice that the verb to be is only used when you are giving this idea of be, right? Of the person who is something, or a state of a moment. Because if you use a different verb in the simple present, the story is a little different. Attention to this verb here. I say play. If I want to form a question using play, I cannot use the verb to be because it's a different verb. So I need to use the two possible auxiliary verbs for the simple present, which are do and does. If I say, do you play tennis? Do you play tennis? This is a question in which I am asking about an ability of yours. I say, do you play tennis? And for you to answer this question to me, how do you say, what do you do? You can say, yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. What I'm calling your attention to is to the fact that whenever you ask a question using do, the short answer will also include the auxiliary verb do. But then you are a little curious. You say to me, okay, but when I say he, she, or it, when I'm talking about third person singular, I need to use does. How different does it become? It's not any different. Check this out. I say, does your mom have a car? I say, does your mom have a car? This is a question in which I am talking about a third person, right? Your mom. This is why it's not possible to use do. You have to use does. So I say, does your mom have a car? Yes, she does. Negative is no, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. You see, this is the basic difference. We use does when we refer to third person singular, he, she, or it. And we use do when we talk about I, you, we, or they. Let's write this down so that it's easier for you to remember. We use do when we talk about I, you, we, and they. All right? This is how we use the auxiliary verb do when the pronouns I, you, we, or they are part of a question, part of a negative sentence, for example. However, does requires she, he, or it. And we also call he, she, it the third person singular. This is why we have two auxiliary verbs for the simple present. Do you follow what I'm talking about? And now you must be feeling a little bit anxious. Oh my God, but maybe this happens with all possible questions. And now I know how to give an answer. Yes, this happens with all yes or no questions. However, there's another type of question that we are going to talk about today, and I need you to pay attention because it's going to make sense to you once you realize that this type of question is a little bit different than the yes or no question. All right, bear with me because remember, understanding and practicing the ideas in English makes you learn more, makes your ability of following an explanation even sharper. So bear with me, pay attention because you're going to understand what I'm talking about in a moment. Let's continue. If you're talking about the simple past, check this out. I say, did you go to school yesterday? Did you go to school yesterday? I am showing you that this is the past, okay? The word yesterday indicates that it's a past moment. And the auxiliary verb for the past is did. Did you go to school yesterday? And then you can say, yes, I did. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. This is something you're never going to forget. Did in the question, did in the answer. And you are thinking, but what about that other type of question you told me about, teacher? The yes or no questions. That's the one we're talking about now. But there's also the WH question. The one I mentioned before that is a little bit different. Check this out. Where do you play soccer? When did your family visit you? Why are you happy? So you can see that these questions are different than the ones before. And why do I say so? Because they are impossible to be answered with a yes or a no answer. You have to provide information. You have to explain something. So the first one, where do you play soccer? You can say, oh, I play soccer at the club. See, I am explaining to the person that the place is the club. I am explaining where it happens. So I say, I play soccer at the club. And notice that in this case, we have do. Do is the indication of present. So no conjugation. You keep the verb the way it is. Base form. This is simple present. All right. Now let's see this one. I say to you, when did your family visit you? When is requiring the time, the moment. And you can say, my family visited me last weekend. See? Did is the auxiliary verb of the simple past. This is why it's necessary to conjugate the verb in the past, because look, last weekend is another indicator of a past time. So you say, my family visited me last weekend. You are expressing the moment that your family visited you. Does it make any sense? Of course it does. Now moving on to the final question. I say to you, why are you happy? Attention to this. It's the verb to be again. The verb to be in the simple present. And in this case, verb to be in the question, verb to be in the answer. And you say, I am happy because it's Friday. I'm happy because it's Friday. Look, verb to be. So you are providing the person with some information, and this way you can make sure that there is content in the answer. See, that's the basic difference. The three questions I showed you here last, they require some information for you to provide people with. However, the other questions, did you go? Does your mom have? Do you play? You see, they are yes or no questions. So these are the two patterns for present and for past. Let's recap for a moment. Simple present. There is the possibility of the verb to be. So you say, are you a good student? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Is your best friend an athlete? Yes, he is. No, he isn't. Verb to be in the question, verb to be in the answer, yes or no questions. But simple present. Do you play tennis? Yes, I do. Does your mom have a car? Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. I use do with I, you, we, or they. These are the pronouns that require the use of do. And I use does to talk about third person singular, he, she, or it. Besides that, you said to me, teacher, that in the past, the auxiliary verb is did. Did you go to school yesterday? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. The WH questions are a little different than the yes or no questions because they require information. So we have to provide people with some information. This is why, where do you play soccer? It's impossible to say, yes, I do, or no, I don't. You have to say something. You have to say the place because the question starts with where. So you say, I play soccer at the club. When did you visit? When did your family visit you? My family visited me last weekend. Did your family? So this is past, simple past. The verb is visit. The verb is visit. So you conjugate it and you say, my family visited me last weekend. Because when requires the use of the time when something happened. And last but not least, we go back to the verb to be, and we see that it's possible to have a question, a WH question, providing people with information. Why are you happy? I am happy because it's Friday. You are justifying something. See, that's not a yes or no question. It's a WH question. All right, is this clear to you? I'm happy because it is. I am very satisfied with the fact that now you can understand how to form questions in the present or the past. And if you like this kind of video, please make sure to tell me. Leave me a comment on the comment section below and I will be more than happy to provide you with the part 2. We are going to see how to form questions to talk about the future. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.